Hello everyone, welcome back. This is an update to the seedlings that were planted. Today is April 7th, and this is the growth result after about 2 weeks. 2 weeks? Yeah, I planted these on March 6th. These are the choice sum, so that was a couple days later, but basically 2 weeks worth of growth. Good results. The corn is taking off like crazy. This is the first time I've growing corn, and looks like I'll probably need to pot these up before everybody else. I checked the bottom and there's roots coming in through the bottom as well. It's probably the reason why most people direct sow corn right outside, but it was a first year attempt, so we'll see how it goes. These are the okra, what else here? Okra, eggplant, broccoli, and kale. Everything germinated fine, everything came up fine. These are the zinnias, doing extremely well. They have their first set of true leaves, and that's what these ones are. So they're going to be good to be potted up into smaller pots pretty soon. All those germinated really well. And these are the marigolds. Same thing. If you look closely, they have their first set of true leaves. I'll probably leave these a little bit longer before potting them up. Maybe wait till they get more than their first. Oh, if you look here, this guy is really advanced. He has his second set of true leaves coming up in there. But anyways, these guys are doing really well. Didn't have any space on the workbench there. Those are the peas. They seem to be growing slower than I would like, but it's peas. And we have an oddball plant here. I don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure that's not peas though. So I'll have to thin that out later on. But they're coming in. I had questions about the humidity domes that I had on top of them when they're germinating. These were the covers that go on top, and someone noticed that, look closely, there are holes in the top. This is just to control the amount of humidity that's in there. So if it's completely covered, all the moisture while they're germinating and on the heat mats gets contained. If I needed to try to control the amount of moisture that's in there, I could slightly open it. It's kind of like the vents on a barbecue. You allow more air to go in to control the heat and the fire, and that's basically what that is. And as I mentioned before, with the heat domes on, the humidity domes on the seed trays while they're germinating, you basically don't need to water. It just keeps replenishing or watering itself from the condensation that happens in there. So that's what that is. The other question I had was, because I mentioned that I'm bottom watering the seed trays, and someone asked me, what does that mean? Each one of these trays, as you can see, these are the plugs that the soil goes into, and then this whole tray sits in another tray at the bottom. So when it's time to water, I put the water in the tray instead of watering from the top. That does two things. Watering from the top, especially when you just put the seeds in, unless you do a very gentle water, there's a chance of you washing away the seeds that you have put in there. And the other thing that happens is over time, you can develop not mold. It's like an algae growth. The top of the soil will start to go green. It doesn't do anything bad for the plants, but it's kind of unsightly. So the best way to get around that is to bottom feed by putting the water in the tray and allowing the plug trays to soak up the water. Each one of these plug trays, let me get back in there. Each one of these plug trays has a little hole in the bottom, and that's how the water gets sucked up into the plant. And the other question I had, well, how do you know when it's time to water? You can just feel it. This one is kind of heavy, and this one is kind of light. When it gets light like that, you know it's going to be time to water. Also, you can see how dark the seeding mix is. compared to this. When this dries out, it'll get a lighter tone like that. So when you see the soil is light like that, you know it's going to be time to add more water to the bottom. And when I do plant up to the pots, these pots, I do the same thing. When the plants are in there, I try to put them in, I soak them. That's what I can use these ones for. I use the large roasting pans that I used for the roasting pans that I used for the lettuce and stuff. I can put the individual pots in there and put water in there and let it soak up. At that point, you don't necessarily need to water like that, bottom water. I kind of still like to do it. I find it better anyways. From my understanding, the plants and pots, they dry from the top down, and it's better if they soak from the bottom up for the water. But either way works. It just depends on your situation. That is all. I'm probably going to have to pot up these ones early, and the rest will be over the next few weeks. Depending on how big they get and whether or not they're successful, the corn, I still have more corn seeds, so I still can direct sow on the May 2-4 weekend and still have corn by the end of summer. That's not a big deal. But we'll see how these go, because like I said, they're growing really fast. They're about 6 inches or 8 inches in some places compared to the growth of the rest of them. So that's it for this update. Look for more coming up, and keep on asking with the questions.